How much pressure is he under here? Or is it his fault at all of this?
Well, I think he is under pressure. I think he's under a lot of pressure now. I think I've been at Stamford Bridge for a few games this season, covering their games, and it has felt like quite an edgy, quite an unhappy place, hasn't it, for a while? It felt like it could turn, and obviously that's what happened in the Wolves game. I mean, we saw the scale of the discontent as well. Usually the anger of the fans is kind of aimed at one, in one place. It's maybe the manager, maybe the owner, maybe the players, but they're angry with all of those elements, aren't they? There's just a huge amount of discontent, and as you say, Pochettino is not solely responsible for this situation. I do sympathise with him on some level. There have been mitigating circumstances. You think about the injuries they've had, for example, but at the same time, he must have known going into that job as a former Spurs manager that he would need to get results quickly, to start well in order to get the fans on side, and he just hasn't been able to do that.
Interesting, because after the first game between Villa and Chelsea in the Cup, the 0-0 there at Stamford Bridge, I was there for that one. In the post-match, Poch was making lots of positive noises. He was saying, we've been playing well, the performances have been good over a period of time, across 2 months. And of course, then you have these back-to-back results like they've had, and you actually go back and look at those 2-month period that he was talking about, and actually the victories that they were having were the narrow ones against Palace, against Luton, against Fulham. They beat Preston and Middlesbrough from the Championship in the Cup. And start scratching beneath the surface, and maybe those performances that he was seeing weren't quite as impressive after all, and it was more about the opposition they were playing. But I think, no doubt, Chelsea now entering a key period for Pochettino and what comes next for them, because you look at the fixtures, Villa away, as we know tonight, then Palace away on Monday night, then they go to Man City before that Carabao Cup final. I mean, it just feels like such a huge moment for Pochettino in terms of his time at Chelsea and what happens next for him.
Yeah. James, over there he is. You've been looking in some of the stats around Pochettino, haven't you?
Yeah, back-to-back losses now for Chelsea, conceding 8 goals in the process, results that leave them in the bottom half of the Premier League table, currently closer to the relegation zone and to Aston Villa in 4th, who they play tonight. And it does mean Pochettino has now had 31 matches in charge. That's the same number of fixtures that Graham Potter managed before he was sacked after just 7 months. And the records of the two managers, very similar. Both lost 11 matches in that period. Pochettino, he's turned more draws into wins, which his win rate up at 48%. That does include the shootout win over Newcastle. Now, there's no suggestion at this stage that Pochettino is under any immediate danger of the sack, but Potter was released with a very similar record. However, ultimately, in terms of position in the table, they were no better than they were when Potter left in April. 11th in the table, 11th now. Work to do to turn this season around.
Similar records then, but give Chelsea fans some hope here. Is there any signs of encouragement?
Well, there's, on one hand, there are reasons to be positive, but also reasons to be concerned as well. They may not have a natural striker at present, but they're still finding the back of the net. 54 goals already this season. Now, Chelsea scored just 33 from Graham Potter's 31 matches in charge. 54 under Pochettino at a rate of 1.74 goals per game. Their expected goals tally is much higher too. However, defensively, they're conceding more goals. Under Graham Potter, they're pretty solid at the back, letting in just 1 goal per game, but they've conceded 13 more under Mauricio Pochettino, 43 goals they conceded. So Chelsea definitely seem more expansive this season than last season, offering more of an attacking threat. However, not being as watertight at the back means they're making little progress when it comes to results, and there's not really any progress that we've seen so far this season that suggests that Mauricio Pochettino is doing a huge amount better than what this man did, who just lasted 7 months.
Yeah, but that's the thing, that XG and the goals. Yeah, they're scoring a few more goals, but Pochettino doesn't say to Raheem Sterling, I'll tell you what I want you to do in the second half is when you've got a sitter in the box, I want you to stick it wide. Nicholas, I'm going to send you on, Jackson, and what I want you to do when you've got a free header from 3 yards out is stick it wide. He doesn't say that to them. I'm sure he doesn't. So how much time should he get? And is this sort of absence of an out-and-out goal scorer, number 9, the real problem behind all of this?
I think it's definitely a big part of the problem, isn't it? I mean, those expected goals numbers are pretty interesting, aren't they? I mean, in the Premier League this season, they actually rank 4th for expected goals, which gives you a good idea of the chances they are creating and does suggest that, the team is working in that sense. They are creating the opportunities. But, so some of the responsibility does lie with the players. But, chiefly you have to look at Pochettino in this situation, and you have to look at whether these players are really improving at the moment, and it doesn't really look like too many of them are, does it? I mean, Pochettino has talked about expectation being different from reality, but I'm not sure that Chelsea fans have particularly unreasonable expectations. I don't think there are many Chelsea fans saying they should be winning the title this year, despite all the spending. I think it's quite reasonable to expect more than what they have offered, though, isn't it? To be 11th, to have lost 10 Premier League games at the start of February. I think that is it's understandable that there is some disappointment there. And you have to remember as well, this is a season when Chelsea have no European football. So Pochettino has had time on the training pitch with the players. He has had time to prepare for games, and yet we're still in this situation where there hasn't been the progress that you'd like to see, and it's not entirely clear what it is he wants this team to be.